Hello and welcome everybody to week 7 of the Platinum League at Zero Gravity Gaming. I am Thousand Eyes alongside MXL on my left, and I am very much excited to get into our game tonight. How about you, Brennan?
Yeah, it's a little odd for me getting into it from this side. Of course, to anyone who's been paying attention to Plat League, I'm normally a player for Evolution Ice Age, but tonight we'll be taking a back seat watching with bated breath as my team tries to make a contest for that last playoff spot tonight.
Absolutely, yeah, it is going to be down to the wire here, and we are going to be seeing who is going to be going at it in the playoffs going forward, but we should be getting underway pretty shortly here for the draft, as I believe we're going to be giving the okays for the teams to start underway. Are there any things out the gate that you are really looking for from either of these teams?
Yeah, I mean, the big things that I can point to, Shanghai has recently told me they have played a solo queue game with Dizzy. It ended with Dizzy on the patented Nunu, which instantly taken off the table. Definitely expected to see that. Levy loves playing the Zeri jungle. Twiz, Vex profile picture, loves playing the Vex, so I'm interested to see if that'll come out. Killatron, Renata. It's always Renata when it comes to Killa. Renata, Pyke are the two that always come to mind. And in that solo queue game I mentioned before, Dizzy experienced Shanghai's Trundle, so definitely makes sense to see that one taken off the table. Another Hullbreaker champ in the Shanghai Yorick as well, so all this is making sense for the time being.
Absolutely, here as we are going to keep pushing forward on this. The Jhin and the Yorick band away, really taking out any kind of solo lane pressure that is available for IMP. I am definitely curious if we're going to see anything, from RIA. But now I'm curious to see, yeah, it's going to be the Vex actually taken there, which means Jinx is open. Jinx has taken a pretty easy first pick in the current state of the game.
Yeah, and Doc is definitely a stable AD player. Has seemed pretty solid in the brief bit of practice that we've had as a team with him. But Jinx just still so strong. The nerfs pretty substantial to her lane phase, but she's still a very strong pick. Not too surprised to see that. However, the response being the Caitlyn Lux lane, not something that I was necessarily expecting to see tonight, but if that lane gets ahead, it is so potent, and it is a heavy lane bully lane for sure.
Very much so, and now we are further and further along. Caitlyn Lux, not going to be a fun time for the Jinx, but there is still the opportunity for some kind of enchanter, something to provide a little bit of protection. The Renata Glass being hovered right now and will be locked in, not surprising to say the least. And the Zeri locked in as well. You and I talked a little bit about what this could be.
Yeah, I have my opinions, but Zilean going to be locked in as well. We've been hearing about the tech with Nasus support specifically into lane against Zeri. It is not fun to play against. Zeri really likes being able to dip, dash, and dive around fights. Zilean presses E. That is a 99% slow at max rank. Point and click. Zeri is not going to have a fun time with that in any capacity, so I really like this pickup coming out from Imperium. I think this is exactly what they need to be doing to try and shut down the double AD carry Renata combination that has worked wonders for Revolution across the season. And another Hullbreaker champ. You know what? I'm cool with this. Shang, play something that's not Hullbreaker, please. This is so gross. You're abusing the most broken item in the game. Please stop.
Oh, yeah, but we are going to continue on. Yeah, the Zilean, like you said, going to provide a lot for the Caitlyn, and also it's going to make it very difficult for any kind of dive to come through, because Caitlyn will be able to get that protection with the slow. The Xin Zhao and the Alawi banned away, still waiting for the next ban from Imperium now. And they are just biding their time.
Oh, wow. They're actually going to ban away the Shanghai Singed. Was not expecting that, especially when you have the Zilean. I mentioned point and click 99% slow. Singed also really likes running around fights. Zilean does fairly well into that pick, so I'm a little surprised to see that coming into the ban list. Would have potentially like to see a different Hullbreaker champion banned away, but we will have to see. I'm assuming as well this will be the jungle pickup. Yep, I'm gonna lock in that Sejuani into the Zeri. Seems fairly solid. I'm a little worried about that potentially being paired with the Zilean in the mid lane. If it's Lux mid, I think it's fine, but Zilean mid with Sejuani just feels a little too low damage for the early game.
Yeah, right now it is really looking like Imperium are just all inning for this Caitlyn, and Caitlyn not known for having that DPS threat to be able to chug through stuff like the Mundo that has been locked in on the other side there. Gonna be another top laner that is pretty self-sufficient, pretty capable of split pushing, being a threat.
Yep.
I mean, if we see Hullbreaker, I'll cry, but it is still an item that can be built, and the Orianna locked in here does mean that we have our mid laner as well.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the response from Pixelated Pizza is going to be into the Mundo. I know myself playing into Mundo, I don't ever really have a great response. Set definitely feels like a decent one, but that will be the lock-in for the top lane. So trying to play more for that lane bully style up top side. The Ori, you're into either Lux or Zilean, sure, it's just a safe try to, survive the lane, get through it matchup. But again, Zilean does really, really well into Mundo. This champion loves when you're able to just run people down, run down the entire enemy team, and 99% slow. I think I've said it enough, right? Like, that is going to be the name of the game. These two champions in the Mundos area are just going to have such a tough time against this Zilean.
Yeah, very much so. And the set is going to be locked in against the Mundo, one that Mundo generally does do okay into, purely because anybody that has one crowd control, really, Mundo just shrugs it off and keeps going, right? So it is going to be just kind of your smash each other in the top lane kind of fight there. And as we are going to get into the draft, I want you to just take me through what we're expecting to see here in some of this early game.
Yeah, I mean, I think these are two just pretty beefy, team fight compositions, right? I think, generally speaking, I look at Revolution's composition, and they're looking more into the, we're gonna kind of play to scale, right? You have the Renata, you have the double AD carry, you have Mundo Ori, like, you're playing for a later win condition. I look over at Imperium, and again, depending on where the Lux Zilean lands, Caitlyn Lux looking to be a lane bully lane. Even Kate Zilean into the Jinx Renata can bully pretty heavily, pretty effectively. And it seems to be a very bot-focused draft coming out from Imperium. If there is one position for this team to start looking to get an advantage, I feel like it's going to have to be through the Caitlyn. You mentioned it before, it kind of feels like all the eggs are in this basket. There is a window potentially to do something topside if the Mundo passive falls off from the Facebreaker. But outside of that, I don't see too much action happening there. And mid, I mean, it's an Orianna into another control mage. It feels kind of bland. It feels kind of slow. To me, it's all going to be around this first, second Drake for Imperium. And if Revolution's able to kind of weather the storm for the first 25 to 30 minutes of the game, it could look a little better for them going forward.
Absolutely here, as, I mean, it's definitely looking like it is just going to be all about Caitlyn, but the question is, can they actually keep this Caitlyn up, and can they soak up the damage needed? Because you're looking at a lot of damage coming out from the opposite side here. Zeri Jinx is a lot of DPS in a team fight, and there is really just the set and the Sejuani realistically to soak up that damage. So to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it just seems like there has to be kind of a strong early game lead going into some of these mid-game skirmishes, or you're going to be getting absolutely rolled here as the game goes on.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely can be tough if you don't generate that early lead. I think we mentioned this as well, Imperium running a very single target focused composition. If Kate's able to stay alive and do fairly well, I think it can be a very strong early to mid-game showing, but the name of the game for Revolution right now is all in the scaling basket. They don't really have a great way to start a fight other than me Mundo, me press R, me run at you. But if there's a single kill that is obtained by Jinx, by Zeri, you all of a sudden have that Zeri ultimate ticking, you have the Jinx on resets, and there's just so much chase down that can come out as a result of that. So it really relies on, I think, Revolution getting a single kill in a fight. With that said, Zilean, really good at shutting down a team from getting a single kill in a fight, right? He has the ultimate. He's going to be able to say, okay, this frontliner, say Set, dives in. All of a sudden, there's a Zilean ult on top of the Set. He's going to be taken down. He's going to revive with a ton of HP. So it feels like there is a potential window for Imperium to just kind of bait a ton of cooldowns, burn the Zilean ult, and then re-engage the fight right after. It's going to be a very interesting game either way, to say the least.
Very much so. And, you know, I just do want to see, like, what are you thinking in terms of which team is going to come out on top here? Because, I mean, obviously, yeah, Imperium's composition is definitely more kind of standard in a way, but it does have its weaknesses. We have a jungle Zeri on the map, and that feels like it's going to be hard to predict. So do you have a confidence level on either side going into this?
Well, so there's a little bit of bias here, as naturally I'm listed on a roster for one of these teams. I'm hoping, right, that Revolution will be able to take the win. I think their composition is a little more cohesive, albeit harder to execute, if that makes sense. So they have a defined identity of what they're looking to do. It's going to be a slow game for Revolution, but if they're able to execute on their win condition, it's going to look really, really clean, really, really just dominating. And I think Imperium really needs to put the pedal to the metal early for this game to turn out in their favor.
Yeah, well, we're going to take a quick break as we get ready to see who is going to come out in top of game 1. Don't go anywhere, guys. We will be right back. And welcome back, everybody. We are live into the game. We have Imperium on the red side, Rev on the blue side. Teams are going to be moving out, and a little bit of a group here coming in. Seeing maybe if Imperium are going to go for something fancy, but it's going to immediately get seen.
Yeah, it's a little spicy, but I definitely like the idea. Try to get any sort of advantage you can in the early game. Like we mentioned in the draft, this Imperium roster needs to get ahead early to really take over this game. And if they don't really find their way in, it could look to just be an outscale angle coming in from Revolution. So I like the early aggression. I like the early look. Good response from Rev as well, just to make sure that they play it slow, they play it safe.
Yeah, kind of what you expect once you do get seen on those. You don't want to push too far forward, but will just be the reset, and junglers looking to both start on that bot side. So top lane ganks at 3 minutes are going to be the possibilities here.
Yeah, and one of the niche interactions that actually can happen with the Zeri to set matchup as well is namely the shield stealing, right?
Yeah.
You normally think of Set as one of these champions that's super annoying to try and gank just because he's able to turn those ganks so well, so effectively that the Haymaker is just ridiculous in terms of the shielding it provides, the damage it can provide. And Zeri can steal some of that shielding. So while it's not doing extra damage to the shield necessarily, she's taking 60% of that shield, saying it's mine, and as a result going to take reduced damage from that W from Set. So could be some interesting stuff that happens as a result of that. We'll have to see how it pans out.
Absolutely. Already early trading in both of the solo lanes here. Pixelated Pizza getting a real nice start, and Mundo not having a fun time. Shanghai not getting the grass procs off. And it may just be all a bait. Maybe just trying to get that Zeri up onto the top side, but currently it is definitely a little scary.
Yeah, and this is kind of how the early lane is going to play out. Mundo generally does better into those magic damage matchups, so Set definitely a favorable matchup in the top side for sure. And the early game is just going to be so strong for Pixelated Pizza. The Q is just ridiculous for the auto reset, the damage that you're able to deal in the early stages of the lane. So understandably, Shanghai not having the easiest time up there.
As we are checking in on the jungle pathing here, full clear for Dizzy. Shanghai now bringing in the jungler, but going low himself as there is Levy. Gonna get the flash out of the set and just gonna walk away. Shanghai barely staying alive, but holding on to the summoners so far.
Yeah, and I actually really like that angle coming in from Levy. I think this is exactly what needs to happen. You get Shanghai to take a little bit more of a favorable reset, try to get this wave under tower, but Shang will have to teleport back to this turret. Dizzy in the area, there could be a window where there was an angle to really punish that play from the jungler. However, we'll just be Dizzy taking that Scuttle Crab away from the looks of things, and Doc just getting bullied down in this bottom lane. Actually, Levy stole the crab.
Toxic. Just backs, grabs the crab, backs away. And now we'll just be... The reset's coming through. Twiz trying to pull this wave over. We'll be able to do so. And just going to be the back angle for the Jinx, as well as Dragon will be still spawning in a minute. So
oh my gosh,
bot laners looking, yeah, Twiz not having a great time. And I kind of mentioned it at the start of the game. Twiz was taking a lot more damage than you'd really expect or hope to see from a Zilean mid lane matchup. So Silent Snow really doing a great job in this matchup.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a little surprising. However, Twiz still holding about an 8 CS lead at this point in time, so doing fairly well in the CS department, all things considered, with how bad that lane is starting to go. However, the big thing I mentioned, okay, Silent Snow
is flash forward, the shield comes through, so Silent Snow actually burns the flash for nothing, but very close for Twiz. Both of them still have TPs, so this probably is just going to end up being the TP and back angle. Yeah. So not a problem there, but definitely a bit scary for the side of Revolution.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like the idea coming out from Silent Snow. If you're able to get that solo kill, like, getting solo killed by Zilean in lane is such a mental, like, blow, right? But we'll have to see. I'll hold that point. Dizzy might be looking. Yeah, okay. Revolution's bot lane sniffs that out. So I do want to touch on, I like the aggression from Silent Snow, but it is the flash burn. Ori didn't have to burn a summoner, just burned the teleport to get back into the lane. It was matched by Silent Snow's TP. So overall, even though that was so close to a kill, that is a huge advantage for Revolution going into this first Drake fight.
Absolutely there. But now the Zilean does have the ultimate, so we have spent enough time in lanes here that we're going to be getting the solo lane ultis coming through. Obviously, top laner's not going to be trying to get down on this dragon, but a Shockwave or a Chrono Shift into these mid lane fights or the mid game fights on the dragon will cause some disruptance here, as dragon is going to be started up. Dizzy getting it low. Levy looking to maybe go over. There is a huge Shockwave. Chrono Shift used on the Zilean alone, and it's the steal from Levy. Picks up the dragon. 2 kills already down. Silent Snow and Dizzy are gone. Shadow is going to be next. And all of the sudden, out of nowhere, everything comes up Revolution.
Yeah, that is a huge blunder from Imperium. I mentioned this team needs to be finding something to do in the early game, but this time around, it just doesn't go in their favor. They look for that first Drake. This is where they should be the strongest, and somehow, some way, 3-man Shockwave from Twiz. Levy just following it up with the secure on the Drake as well. 3 kills, 2 of which go to Doc on the Jinx. This is exactly what Revolution needs to start this game.
Oh my goodness. Look, I doubted it. I'm not gonna lie. We talked about it before, and you said, like, expect the Zeri jungle, and I said, that's garbage.
Zeri, it didn't. Okay, Zeri didn't do anything there. Zeri jumped in and stole.
Zeri stole the jungle.
She
stole the dragon.
She stole it with a smite. Any jungler in the game could have done that. Okay.
Yeah, but how many skate over the walls?
She blast coned. So
I didn't ask if that's what she did then. I just said how many can skate over the walls.
Oh my gosh, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, Twiz just finding a really, really good Shockwave, honestly, to just salvage that for Revolution. It drew so much attention back into the Orianna, and a very, very clean collapse from the rest of Rev. Just, that's what you need to do. That is what needs to happen in this early game for Rev if they're able to get a lead, but topside's not looking good.
Yeah, not gonna be much there. Easy pickup. Shanghai going down. And didn't even have the passive or the ultimate for protection there. So Dizzy doing a great job recognizing I could go topside. There's nothing to fight over bot. Let's just head up there and get a free kill. And Set getting off the ground could open up opportunities for Imperium.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty good window still. I think Imperium's still like a stronger team right now in terms of what they can do. I think they definitely fumbled a little bit at that Drake fight, but they definitely have the ability to play for that second Drake. It is going to be the Hextech Drake, or potentially could look for an early Herald, try to fight around that. Pixelated Pizza looks so strong already, has the deal completed. It's a fairly effective item against a double AD carry comp. Who would have thought?
I mean, look, if you're doing damage from auto attacks, might as well. Damage coming through now. Twiz looking to get the Shockwave, but the Chrono Shift is ready. Silent Snow holding on to it.
Again.
Alive at the end of it. Massive team fight win in the bot side for Revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely a big 2v2 down in the bottom lane. It looked a little rough, but Doc managed to get in front of that ace in the hole. Killatron able to stay alive, and sure, the bailout was on to this Renata. Not necessarily where you want it, but trying to keep themselves alive. Definitely can respect that. Levy, though, looking back topside.
Levy getting up here, has the slows from the red and the passive. Shanghai getting a nice little briefcase, says do your paperwork, send me faxes. But they are just gonna back Pixelated Pizza away for a little bit of pressure and plates on this top side.
Yeah, and again, we're looking at this right now. If you're on the side of Revolution and you're saying, all right, we're winning in the bot lane, we're winning in the mid lane pretty substantially. The jungle matchup's kind of going even, but for right now, Zeri's doing perfectly fine. Where's the issue, right? You're looking topside, and while most of the time I'd say play towards your stronger lanes, play to try and just abuse one of your strong sides, try and get yourself an advantage through that, I think Set's not at a point where he's unstoppable, right? He's 1-0-0. You're able to still fight him, as we just saw. So trying to neutralize that matchup, trying to get Shanghai back into this one a little easier is definitely a solid option. And I really, really like seeing that coming out. Drake, though, spawning in 4 seconds. Levy's still topside. There's a window for this to be playing towards that Drake for Imperium. They should be able to pick this up. There looks to be no contest coming out from Rev.
So I was watching there, Super Mega Death Rocket came through from Doc, got some scary looks onto the Zilean, but scary looks are going on to the Jinx right now. Fluid Flash away, gets away from the binding. Good sidestep away from the Sejuani W, turning this around. Has the bailout, lots of damage, and man, you wish you had that ultimate now. Berserk gonna go down, but it's not on to anybody. Low health. Mace is just gonna back off and get very low, but Killatron also just playing with fire, and that chunk of health going down could open up opportunities for a dragon, but it is just going to be the back away because they don't know Zeri is up on that top side.
Yeah, that just feels like a massive blunder and overforce coming out from Imperium in that bottom lane. I don't really think you need to be looking for that fight, even if you want to, right? Dizzy goes for that Arctic Assault into the Glacial Prison. Just a really, really solid combo to try and get that ultimate down. Shadow's looking mid, though.
Shockwave hits. Shadow hits the binding, though, and Twiz is low. Maybe they're going to get it. There is another bomb, which should be enough, and that will be Silent Snow picking that one up. Great roam from Shadow.
Yeah, very well played from Shadow overall. I think just doing a lot of work, even with how awkward the laning phase has been for this bottom lane. And we can see Doc, Twiz, just, you know, they're the carries. They're doing pretty all right. Pixelated Pizza definitely doing fairly well up in the top side as well. But I did want to mention that Drake should have probably just gone over earlier. I think Dizzy, looking for the bot play, should have just backed off once the Jinx had burned the flash. Unfortunately, did try to overcommit, was forced into the reset. But like you mentioned, Levy just went for that Rift Herald, decides to throw away the Drake regardless. So we'll have to see how this is utilized. Looks to be dropped top lane, try to open up this Mundo to start roaming around the rest of the map.
Yeah, and they want to use this soon because the plates are about to go down 45 seconds before that occurs. As Levy, they are still holding on to it just yet, not using it. And there is the make 'em kiss. Pixelated Pizza still taking a lot of damage, but clearing it out. Now, here comes the Rift Herald, and might be just a little late here. No, should be able to get through.
Yeah, they still have a ton of time. 20 seconds left before plates fall.
Oh, Pixelated Pizza getting really low, trying to go for a fight he shouldn't have. And the burst healing from that maximum dosage. Shanghai stays alive and gets a nice fat 300 gold out of it.
Yeah, that was a lot more damage than I was expecting to come through onto the set. Just very well played, I guess, from the top jungle of Revolution. And now Dizzy might be overextended.
Yeah, there is the lightning crash as Levy wants to go further in. Good Glacial Prison there, but Dizzy, I don't think you want to go back in. Wow. It is just a trade at the end of the day. And Levy goes down. Both junglers going to be sitting on the sidelines for another couple seconds.
Yeah, I actually really like that from Dizzy. I know you mentioned probably don't go back in, but there's no world in which you run away from the Zeri, so try to trade something back, try to turn it back around. I like at least making that look, and it does turn out with the 1-for-1, so not the end of the world there. But yeah, Levy still looking fairly effective so far on this Zeri, just, you know, power farming through, still, you know, even with the Sejuani, unfortunately, but these early ganks have just been a little rough for Dizzy, and there hasn't really been a punish onto this area as a result.
Definitely not. And now you can see already Triforce completed
Yeah,
for
wow.
Levy. So very early on, all things considered, and will be putting out a lot of damage on those 1v1 scenarios. We're just waiting for that Titanic Hydro, which I can assume is going to be coming as well, or even more team fight damage. Pixelated Pizza trying to fight inside his own minions because Shanghai does not have the beefiness yet to be able to just soak up all that damage for free.
Yeah, and again, we've seen those two massive spikes for Rev, right, are the two Drakes. The Drake fights that have kept coming out. And the first one is a little more obvious, of course. The second Drake was mostly uncontested, but a lot of the aggression that was played around into that early game was just a little rough around the edges, to say the least. I think you can look at what Imperium's done, and a lot of it's the right idea, wrong execution.
Grab there, no. Shadow going low. There is the ult, but Shadow just barely gets away thanks to the heal and the move speed from it. Mace doing a great job getting his support out of there, but it is still a heal lost for this Caitlyn.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate, but
oh, no, bind. Bailout's gonna go on to Killatron, but he's not gonna be getting any kills. There's the ace, and the whole Glacial Prison doesn't hit, but it's just needed for the slow. Doc gonna flash away. Him gonna follow the flash, and Doc is actually going to go down to the Shadow, and there is Levy backing off a little bit, but has the Lightning Crash, still trying to go in. Will be pushing forward just a little bit. I don't think you have the damage for this. Dizzy's going to try and turn around, keep going forward. Dizzy is keeping damage on, but Levy is as well, and the kite comes through. Zeri is off the chain now.
Yeah, TP coming in, though.
TP, this is the set. Levy is just going to back away, skate over the wall. 2022 champions, everybody.
That's not even the most 2022 thing about her, but Pizza does find Azeri once again.
Yeah, but the kiting is going to keep coming through as well. It's Set, not known for being able to get in. Shockwave on Silent Snow just to get him out. Twiz has to flash over just to get over to the team. Levy hopping over the wall. Shadow does die again. Twiz going in, gets bailed out, and are they going to be able to keep him alive? No, but Pixelated Pizza also going to go down at the end of it. Get excited. We'll come through. Shanghai chasing people down. There's the Chrono Shift. Immediate change of targets there as Zeri is going to go for the wall shot, does not get it. At the end of it, Rev are still coming out way on top of this.
Yeah, a little awkward usage of that shockwave there, to say the least, but Shanghai just doing Mundo things. I mentioned this team just wants to run at you. You have the Mundo, you have the Zeri, etc. So Silent Snow just not able to use that I forget what his E is even called, but the E just running, I think was used on Caitlyn or maybe on himself, so tried to run pretty fast away, and oh my gosh, those gold charts. Poor Killa being, you know, last in the game, but the rest of Revolution, top 4 in the game, that feels pretty good for Rev.
So here's the thing, you say that, but also look at how little gold Shadow has for the amount of work that Shadow put in this early game. It is basically even with that Renata, so it's not the end of the world. But and then I think if you're Renata Glasky, you're seeing everybody else has the most gold in the game. Like top 4 in the game are your other 4 teammates. You're sitting pretty. You're just sitting around waiting for the fights to come and doing everything you can to enhance that as much as possible.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of these enchanters, right? You're able to run a more low econ build, and that's one of the downsides with running these poke mages, these burst mages in the support role. If you fall behind, your items are so incredibly expensive, so it's going to feel pretty rough as the game progresses. Twiz burning the teleport here just to catch the wave. I'm not huge on it, but probably won't be punishable. We'll have to see what happens when that Baron spawns here in 30 seconds, if Rev even looks for it.
And we're fighting about that top side. Just going to be 2 beefy boys flapping each other around, having a good time. As it is just right now, Revolution pushing the map forward. A lot of defensive vision being brought through by Imperium, but Revolution don't want to give that all over to them and try and keep this pressure on. They don't want them to feel comfortable walking in their own jungle.
Yeah, it's definitely a smart idea, especially when you're looking towards that Baron as the next neutral objective, looking to play around that one, of course. I'm a little intrigued by some of the lane assignments here, though, and this is part of the issue with burning that teleport to catch the bot wave. Twiz matching the Zilean. Zilean will have the TP advantage. Mundo with the TP. Playing up towards... Oh, no, Killa.
Oh, Killa gonna be going down. Uses the ult for nothing, basically. One auto attack from the Lux is great. Gained from it. Pixelated Pizza now walking in onto this Mundo. We'll have the rest of the team coming in. There is no Mundo passive as Maximum dosage is gonna be used. Shanghai backing off, getting in. There is the ult. The showstopper doesn't go through. Set dies. The Sejuani dies. Doc is off the rails, excited and ready to go. Don't go back in on that silence. No, you are not going to survive if you do that. And he unfortunately did. Chrono Shift hits though, and there is the route onto Shanghai. Shanghai going very low, will get shut down by Mace, and now Twiz and friends have to back away. There is Final Spark, dodges through. Silent Snow still sitting up on this front line, but it is just going to be the back away. A 2-for-2 at the end of it, if you count the addition of Killatron at the start of that.
Yeah, a little bit over-eager, overzealous, I think, from Revolution there. I think they could have just looked to take that flash from Zilean, turn it back towards the Baron. They already had a pretty significant advantage, but, you know, teleport advantage be damned, I guess. Twiz just runs up to the fight. Silent Snow runs up behind, and... I mean, Shang just runs at people. Mundo things, I guess.
Mundo
but
things.
yeah,
Ran a little bit too far.
Yeah, well, listen, Mundo, you probably are just like, oh, my passive makes me immune to CC, like, forever. And then you get CC'd, you kind of forget about that part. And
Yeah,
then you get
like
hit
10
by luck
seconds
blind on the
later.
tower.
10 seconds later on, you're like, wait, but I'm immune to CC.
Yeah,
You're
it's
not
like,
playing Gwen, my friend.
that's a surprise
wrong
Pikachu
champion.
face if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Doc actually playing pretty far up here for how little people.
Ooh,
Oh my
wow.
god, that bind missing was
That feels
clutch. It feels bad, but Doc dodging that meant everything because that is a minute before the dragon spawns. That would lose you a lot of tempo as we're going to
Dear
see the gold
Lord.
graph has just slowly but surely made jumps in the direction of Revolution. They're doing wonderfully for themselves right now with a 6K gold lead. Actually, 7K, I believe now. They are going to be getting ready for this next dragon. This is the one that will put them on Soul Point in just about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a really, really strong spot for Rev to be in. I still think they probably didn't have to give over that second Drake, but it's more on a misread of Imperium doing some weird things, I would say. Pixelated Pizza just getting bullied up here.
Oh, absolutely. There is the Grit Shield, and Dizzy's going to show up just to provide a little bit of protection, but this should give the opportunity for that dragon to come through. Pizza, I don't think you want that one, and Dizzy now is lamenting the fact that his top laner went back in. Dizzy trying to get back to the tower and will succeed in doing so, but all of this means that the dragon Soul Point is going to be basically free for Revolution.
Yeah, there is no world in which this can be contested. They do secure that one. This is one of those situations where you start spam pinging the jungler, because that was not a smite secure. Or if it was, it wasn't a good one. But still a really, really dominant spot coming in for Rev right now. It's looking tough. I think if you're on the side of Imperium, you need to start prepping your game plan going into game 2. Because, I mean, Shang is a menace. We just saw him with the 1v2 top lane. Doc is incredibly strong right now on the Jinx, and there's 3 people chasing down a Zilean from the jungle right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, Zilean also going to just go down himself. Chad is going to provide a little bit. This is kind of just filtering in one at a time here. This is a little bit disorganized from Imperium, and they are paying the price for it.
Yeah, TP coming in as well. I think Rev just wants to look for the fight. Or the Baron, I guess. Okay, never mind.
You know what? The world is their oyster. There really is not much that will stop anything that Revolution want to do right now. The gold lead peaking up close to that 10K mark. Is he going to get a suitcase to the face and look over the wall? Gets a control ward down, sees the Baron is at half health, thinking about going in. Pixelated Pizza also on the side here. Big grit shield hit, and there is the final spark. Jumps over, and it's stolen! Dizzy flashes back out. Pixelated Pizza gonna try and take someone with him, but he won't do so. Levy flashing forward, gets the kill onto Sejuani. They don't want to fight this. There's the bind. Shadow wants it, but he's not gonna get it. Here comes the hostile takeover, and it means that Shadow is gonna go down, almost taking Twiz. Two people very low. Mace banking out under the tower, but Shanghai does not care. He's got the Mundo tankiness, but he might need to start to care a little bit because he's not insanely tanky yet.
Yeah, and while Imperium does lose the fight, Dizzy manages to steal the Baron. Just dead!
What in the world was that damage coming through? Killatron dies immediately. Full AP Zilean and a Caitlyn that is not behind is a scary prospect. 25 minutes, Silent Snow hanging on the side. Levy also is back in here. Silent Snow out of position in a major way. Mace is going to try and provide protection. Shanghai might be going down. Flash from Silent Snow. Twiz showing up on the side looking for the shockwave. Not going to get it. Pixelated Pizza providing front line here. But they're just going to back away again. Bind hits. Here's the double bomb. There is final spark. Twiz going to hit that Zhonya's. But there's Pixelated Pizza. Another grit shield comes through. Levy just dancing around on the outside. And I think they're finally going to just back away.
Oh my lord, these fights are playing on a knife's edge all of a sudden. But again, Imperium with the Baron, they will be able to start pushing in these waves. Orianna not quite able to deal with these Baron minions too well. However, it looks like Imperium respecting the potential for the fight, respecting the potential re-engage. However, it's so tense all of a sudden.
I mean, really, this Baron has just bought time at the end of it.
Yes.
It's not been a Baron for, oh, we're going to push real hard. Doc taking a lot of damage from that Lux there. And Shanghai going real far in. Will get the passive proc. Heal is burned for a reason that exists.
Tough. That's a misclick if I've ever seen one. I don't know what you're misclicking, but it's a misclick.
I feel like if they had their main AD carry, that may not have occurred. But
oh, you have so much faith in me.
Well, I say that because you would have used the heal earlier for an even dumber reason.
Okay. I guess I'm just getting flamed on cast. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's looking a little shaky, though, right now. Like, you would think, even after the Baron being stolen away, you go 3 for 0 if you're Revolution. You're feeling strong. You took the fight. Sure, they have Baron, but you should be able to push down, potentially look for something a little more aggressive. And they're looking to slow down a bit. They're playing a little more scared. They have this double AD carry comp fully online. Yep. You see the gold. That's exactly where it needs to be right now. And they're playing for this last Drake. They're in a better position as it spawns, but I don't know. They've been playing a little too timid since that Baron steal.
It's where it needs to be for both teams there as the Caitlyn. Dizzy now actually getting caught out. Pixelated Pizza taking a lot of damage. Shanghai is over, tanking a bunch, and Jinx is just free hitting over the wall. Here comes Shanghai, Levy hopping over the wall to provide a little bit of extra help. Silent Snow trying to get away, but Mundo is so fast. Chrono Shift on to the Zilean, and he will back away. Chrono Shift ends. There's the flash forward. Doc timing it perfectly there to get another kill. Final spark is so close, but not enough. That is a 3 for nothing in favor of Revolution. Ooh, Mace is actually going forward, flashes away from the shockwave. And now Ace in the hole. There is the super mega death rocket, and it is not enough. Everybody is on just single digit HP.
Yeah, but that does mean that Revolution will secure themselves the Infernal Soul. And while the fights have been timid since that steal, that time around, Doc in such a good spot, able to just free hit from over the wall. And we mentioned it. Jinx gets 1 kill. Jinx will take over a fight, does so beautifully. And it's looking very, very strong once again for Revolution. They're sitting about 10,000 gold in the lead. The objective bounties right now are just ridiculous. And if another steal comes through, there's a potential angle for Imperium to really try to look for something a little interesting or a little spicy from what we would expect. But it just feels so heavily in favor of Revolution right now.
Yeah, all the momentum is in Revolution's pocket right now. It's just a question of can they pull it out when they need it, because they've kind of fumbled it when they've gotten to things like this Baron. Okay, Levy, I know you're playing the champ that has to aim to get wards. Is Pixelated Pizza playing the champ that gets the crap beat out of him by Mundo. He's also just solo protecting here. Might be out a little bit too far forward. Doc just runs him down thanks to the bailout. TP's going to come in just to protect this tower. Holy moly.
Yeah, Jinx is, well, was 7-1, is now 8-1, so she's gonna do a little bit of damage. Surprise to nobody who's been playing League of Legends for the last 3 months, but here comes the fight for Rev.
Yeah, Shanghai taking literally no damage. That boy is at max HP, but that is also a max HP going into the team. Not gonna do too much. Final Spark doesn't also hit that much, and Revolution, basically after burning everything that was in the pocket of Imperium, is just going to look to try and force these towers down and maybe just end the game. They're pushing forward. Last tower is down. They don't have Caitlyn, or they do have Caitlyn in the fight now. Shanghai trying to go deep in. Only some people are hitting the Nexus. There is Chrono Shift, will buy a little bit of time. Doc is low, but is still alive. Final Spark will not hit because the game is over, and Revolution take game 1 in domineering fashion.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Revolution, notorious for the classic reverse sweep, but not in the good way. So I'm interested to see if they'll be able to continue this dominance going forward. It looked mostly clean. There were a few decision-making errors, I think, across the board, but some misreads coming out potentially. Not really the fault of Revolution, more just I think Imperium not playing as one would expect. However, overall, pretty strong showing, I would say, from Revolution in the first game of the series. And I mean, it's looking good if they're looking for that playoff spot.
Absolutely. I mean, you also do have to say that there is a little bit of space given where it shouldn't have been. When you look at how that game started out, there was a lot of great ground gained by Imperium, but it felt like it kind of all went haywire after that Dragon Steal,
Yeah.
which felt like a huge like loss of wind in the sails for Imperium, and they weren't able to come back after that for a long time. Overall, though, I mean, we'll have to see if their AD carry picks a normal champion in game 2, because that is really where things started going downhill for Revolution last time around. But we will see if that we'll see how that works out, because we are going to take a quick break as we get ready for game 2, guys. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We are about to get into game 2 of the night after Revolution look dominant in game 1, looking to make this a quick 2-0 for the night. We are going to be getting into the draft very shortly here, Brennan. What are you expecting to change for both these teams going into game 2?
The first Drake team fight, specifically looking towards Imperium for that one. I think they had a decent idea of what their composition was looking to do. It felt like a decent, just way to cut down a lot of what Rev was looking to try and do, but they kind of botched that first Drake fight, and it was a lot of split focus. It was a lot of just awkward fighting for the rest of the game, it felt like, and they had a few good looks. There was the smite steal coming out from Dizzy. There was a decent team fight that followed later on, I think, around that Infernal Soul, but it unfortunately was not meant to be for them. I think they need to find a little more reliable engage. I think Sedge, skill shot, solid, but outside of that, there wasn't too much that they could do to start a fight. So once they fell behind, it looked really, really bad.
Yeah, bans looking pretty similar across the board so far, though. The Jinx looking to be banned as Revolution seemed to recognize how potent that AD carry can be, and we did see so in game 1. So not wanting to give that same power over to Imperium. His first pick is now on their board, and they need to figure it out.
Yeah, no Jinx going to be available either this time, so I'm interested to see what the priority will be. I think there's a few picks that can come to mind. I know certain teams still will like the Zeri, but Shen was left open as a result, so that will be the first pick for Imperium. A little interesting to see it come out as a first pick, but definitely a decent top laner specifically, and has that flexibility to potentially support. I don't know if we've seen it jungle in a while, but there's always a chance, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
I think yeah, you and I think, had the same mindset of, if your AD carry can play Zeri right now, take it, because you're taking not only a solid AD carry, but you're taking away a jungle pick from the enemy team that did pretty solidly. It looks like it's going to be just a run back here for Revolution. If it worked once, do it again, but this time into a little bit of a different composition, as Shen will be a bit of a different matchup in that top side, and I would say has a little bit more room for failure for Imperium.
Yes and no. I think the lane is much, much harder for Shen than it was for something like the Set. That is the champion that they played last game. But damage. What is this team composition going to do to Amundo? They're going to slow him down, sure, but there is nothing that will be able to actually damage him, get through this tanky boy. And now you throw in Kai'Sa for long-range poke as well. I don't know. I mean, this doesn't feel like it's it for Imperium.
Look, so, I mean, they did see last time that Shanghai was taking the corporate Mundo, so maybe it's possible they're trying to broker a deal of some sort of, we won't do damage to you, but we'll slow you down a little bit. We'll make it a little bit harder to walk, and see if that is a fair trade-off for Imperium, or if they're going to have to go for some kind of hyper carry in either the jungle or these. I mean, it would have to be you've got to go for something really strong as a hyper carry in these other roles here, and maybe take that Zilean to the support role instead of mid, but it's still not gonna look great past the 10-minute mark here.
I think if I'm Imperium at this point, the way you look to salvage this draft is even look for something as aggressive as like a Zyro.
Here we go again.
It's Ashe support.
Here we go again.
Okay, I actually like this way more. It's still bad. You're still playing Misfortune into Mundo Nautilus, but like, this is a very spicy way to try and change things up. It does mess with your damage profile a little more. I definitely like the idea at the very least. But again, I'm still left wondering, where's the damage? What's dealing with Mundo? Your jungle pickup cannot be a tank. It can't be. Oh no.
It can be, and it will be. The Sejuani is the final pick there for Imperium, giving them a good amount of frontline for this composition, but maybe not as much DPS as you would like to see. Revolution now just waiting on their final pick, most likely going to be that mid laner picked up, and it's very possible that we see some more of the same. The Orianna is available, and we'll see if that is going to be the pickup again, or if we're going to go for something a little bit different. That is, yep, just going to be the Orianna. Basically, outside the Jinx and the Renata that got banned away, run it back, do the same thing, see if you can make it happen again.
Yeah, and I actually really like this adaptation. I think Revolution last time, the concern with their composition was that the only way for them to start fights is to run at people. This time around, you have Nautilus. You can by pressing the R key, which is a really, really, really good ability, especially against the mobile champions named Miss Fortune, Ashe, and Zilean, who cannot get over a wall without using their flashes. So we'll have to see. I think my eyes are going to be peeled on this Miss Fortune Ashe lane. It has a severe range advantage over the Nautilus Kai'Sa. To play for the slow scaling, like just don't like kind of lane style. Shen will be able to enable one of these two champions bottom lane as well, but the concern still is there. You don't have a ton of damage coming out from this team composition for Imperium, and you're staring down the barrel of two tanks and a Poke Kai'Sa and a Zeri, and it's tough. It's going to be a very, very uphill battle if they're not able to get a lead early. And I would have loved to see something a little more spicy come out, potentially do like an Ashe Zyra lane, potentially do something a little more interesting in like a Kindred jungle angle, right? Just something that would be a little more damage across the board. It's going to be rough, but they have to play through bot to make this game work.
I mean, let's take apart, because it is similar compositions, you know, on both sides right now. Let's take apart the positives that we did see from Imperium and the negatives for Revolution, because obviously we can talk about positives and negatives the other way, but it's pretty clear one team won, the other didn't. But right now, look, actually, hold on, it might be the support misfortune.
Oh. Ooh. Well, what this does do is it kind of makes your damage profile a little more mixed. So you're not just running like this double AD forced build, because we saw Zilean do decent damage last game, but he's not going to have that consistent damage. I'm assuming that if you're keeping this Misfortune in the support position, Shadow will be maxing the Make It Rain, will be looking to build into something like a Liandry's. It's weird, but I'm a huge fan of APMF. It's kind of fun. I'm not going to say good, but I'm going to say fun. It has a really, really strong time in lane, and you do really well, and then level 9 hits, and then you are no longer a champion from level 10 onwards. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I'm interested to see what the build is going to be, if it'll be into a full AP Dio. Went for this full like heal cut armor shred build with a random AP item. We'll have to see. I'm excited to see what's gonna come out.
So I can tell you the logic behind that was it was all about
utility.
It was all about utility, and the AP was one because you weren't going to take the other item, because at that point you couldn't farm with it. Relic was not worthwhile taking on a ranged support, and two, it gives a little bit more strength on those AP ratios. I think nowadays we're looking more at the just full AP Misfortune, because AP ratios and items have gotten really, really strong and more potent. But overall, yeah, it's still going to be annoying as hell to deal with in lane. And the positives that we did see from Imperium were that mid lane went really well when it really shouldn't have. Like I look at a Zillion Orianna lane and I think Orianna should probably have a solid time on that, but Zillion seemed to have control of that lane pretty well. If that first couple of fights goes a little bit differently, we maybe see a different game.
Yeah, I think Snow looked really good in that early lane phase, and I think it all really fell apart for Imperium at that first Drake fight, like we were mentioning. I think they have the ability once again to look for an early Drake fight. That's where they want to look to play around, get those first two Drakes, get your bot lane snowballing, play heavily, heavily through these two range champions down there. We'll have to see if they're able to course correct the ship after game one.
Absolutely, but we are going to get ready for game two in just a moment here. Don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to see if Revolution can end this on game two, or if we're going to be going to game three. We'll be right back after this break. And welcome back, everybody. We are live with game two of the night. Revolution gonna be trying to put this one home on the red side at this time, and Imperium on the blue side, maybe looking to get a better view of their composition than they did in the last game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty similar composition coming out from both sides, I think. I like what Imperium has done a little more this time around, but flash for flash trade early, that's going to be huge, but we'll have to see. I'm actually thinking that almost benefits Imperium a little more, just because they have the more aggressive early jungler. So we'll have to see if Dizzy's able to punish Killatron's use of flash. That could be a really, really big window for Imperium to kind of start that snowball rolling through bottom lane, like we were mentioning in draft.
Yeah, I mean, the question then becomes, do they capitalize on that in lane? And that would be in favor of the Nautilus if it's just that 2v2 fight. But
Yeah.
like you said, if that Sejuani shows up and they are pushed too far forward, it's not going to be a fun time. Although you wouldn't expect to see Kaisa Nautilus be out pushing a Misfortune Ashe in the
Yeah.
bot lane.
And the pathing right now looks like Sejuani's going to be pathing away from this bottom lane, which I'm actually really against. I think you already are going to be starting that permafrost. You want to be looking for that melee leash. So going top lane makes your early clear faster, for one. Second, you're able to play towards this bottom lane, which is where your focus needs to be drawn. And Levy recognizing that, saying, all right, I'm starting the red buff.
Oh,
Should be looking
no.
down. There's the hook.
Yeah, there's the hook. There's the ignite. Killatron maybe trying to get the kill, but Doc not gonna get it thanks to the exhaust from the mace, and now is turning things around, just getting DPS down, just standing still, doesn't matter, and will get first blood, but Killatron picks up the kill in return.
Yeah, but all things considered, Mace just playing like a Kog'Maw, like the good old days of 5.0 Kog'Maw, right? Standing there, right-clicking,
salute.
auto-attacking.
My favorite Kog'Maw.
Those days were terrifying, but does come out with the advantage there. First blood obtained, doesn't have to burn a summoner, and yeah, Mundo has a field day with Shen. Fun fact.
Yeah, lots of damage going down. Pixelated Pizza, once again, not having a fun time. Still holding on to that health pot for the time being. And Silent Snow definitely seems to be having a rougher time around this time, as Twiz seems to have his feet underneath him going into game 2. So now we do look at what happened on the bot side. And it was a kill on the Ashe, which is obviously more advantageous than a kill on the Nautilus. But importantly too, all sums burned
Or from Rev.
were Rev, and
Yeah.
Imperium only there still have the flash available on Mace, so there are some plays to be had. You can see the poke from this Misfortune, still a threat.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is still going to be looking very good for Imperium. This is what needs to happen. But Twiz looking for the solo kill mid, maybe flash QW? Nope.
No, doesn't want to risk it yet. Doesn't know where Dizzy is, and rightly so, because there is a pretty close by lady on a boar. Zeri hanging over the wall, maybe looking for a tower dive. No,
That's a
Zillion
counter.
has,
Cool.
yeah, that is a counter gank that would be available if it does happen. It's just going to be the reset there. Oh, they still want it though. Here actually comes the Sejuani first. Twiz gonna have flash away because they do not have this area in position just yet. Levy gonna show up bot lane. Also, here comes the hook again. Mace this one tanking it up and still holds on to the flash strong.
Yeah, Levy just playing it a little too late, I think, was looking to go over the
Wait,
chicken.
hold
Wasn't
on.
able to.
What's
Top mid
going on?
found
The
up.
top side, Pixelated Pizza turned this one around, chasing down the Mundo. Flash for flash there, and Shanghai's going to throw the briefcase, says sit down and breathe a second, and will get away at the end of it all. But flash is burned for both top laners, and gonna have to be the back for the Mundo.
Yeah, I'm actually baffled as to how that played out, but looks like we're not seeing any action. Bot, Silent Snow and Twiz still fighting. Command attack. Oh, so close.
Very, very close there. It's Dizzy tries to look for a bot lane gank, will not get it. Twiz going to try and push one more wave before backing. Is Silent Snow gonna head back, grab some items, and go back into lane? Has the tier, has the boots, trying to avoid a little bit more damage from that Orianna.
Yeah, a little interesting to see some of the itemization choices here. I'm not huge on necessarily looking for the tier boots. Would have liked to see almost, well, I don't know. It's weird. Zillion items are weird, but Sedge is looking towards his bot side. Killa has flash, Doc does not.
Yeah, but Killa is the one who is far away. Good flash away. Killatron getting very low. There's no melee ope, but they're gonna get it anyway. Aftershock flash gets away just absolutely barely there. As I want to check and see. Yeah, Triumph. Triumph did a lot of work in that fight on the bot side.
You say Triumph, I say Aftershock is broken. I am
Both.
tilted for
It
Doc.
required both.
Yes.
And Doc, unfortunately, no, it was Killatron that went down.
Yeah, but Doc didn't get the kill, which is the tragic part. Like, I'm
Okay,
tilted for
fair.
Doc there. Listen, I'm an AD carry player. I feel his pain, okay?
Yeah. This is why I don't like you.
Oh,
If the deal.
That's
Oh,
mean.
there's Shockwave. Silence now gonna take that damage. Killatron on the side. And just gonna push it back onto Twiz. Bomb will just poke, and another back's gonna have to come through from Silent Snow. Chrono Shift's still available, but because Nautilus shows up in that mid lane, it means that Doc is basically zoned off this wave.
Yeah, interestingly enough, though, this bottom lane has basically been perma pushing in for Revolution, so they've actually had priority over this lane, meaning that Dizzy hasn't been able to look for this early Drake, which feels like it needs to be taken as a win condition, realistically, for Imperium in this early game. With the camps respawning, I think this should be known that Levy will be pathing towards the top side on the Zeri, and it should lead to Dizzy just looking for this Drake, trying to call for the lanes to get priority. But with with actually both of the bottom lanes resetting,
Ooh.
little awkward there. But yeah, we'll not be able to look for that as a result.
Silent Snow, I feel like it was like, haha, you didn't kill me. I got the Chrono Shift off, but at the same time, now you don't have Chrono Shift.
Off.
You got your Chrono Shift off, and I just used WQ. Shang taking another large chunk of damage. Grasp is a rune that does a decent chunk if you are not careful.
Yeah, Levy, though, I don't think wants to look
You
for this dive.
Don't dive a Shen.
Especially a Zeri.
Or especially as any champion in the game. Diving a Shen is generally a bad idea.
Oh, and Sedge is here.
And
this is
Sedge is
awkward.
around. This is a very, very strange look there, as I think Zeri wants to push Sedge away, but now Shen is coming around. As directed camera doesn't seem to care about top lane for the first time in its life.
I don't know. I feel like it's permanently bot lane, but
That's just because it's watching your mistakes.
okay. Wow. Wow.
Woo! This is why Brennan doesn't cast here anymore, guys.
Oh, Killa.
Killa hitting the hook onto the wall and taking a lot of free damage as Doc's going to
That's
try and provide. Yeah, that's a bit unlucky, and it will force the back from Killatron there.
Yeah, but again, we're hitting this 8.5 minute point, and Imperium has not looked once towards this Drake. They've had the ability to a few times, I feel, and with Sejuani pathing bot side, this has to be the call.
Ooh, Killatron actually going in there, level 6. There's the depth charge, but the Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes back around. Doc gets the kill, flash forward. 80 carries, trade kills, but it's gonna be Mace picking up a second one at the end of it. So the engage came through from Rev, but overall Imperium benefit from it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Twiz
Twiz also. Shockwave is available and will hit. Then there is no Chrono Shift to come through. Levy is trying to do what he did in game one, but they suss it out and they get the kill. Another pickup there as Imperium's starting to get off the ground.
Why are you fighting there if you're leaving?
Wait,
There's zero
Dizzy?
reason.
Okay, Dizzy will use the Glacial Shroud, and here comes the bullet time, but not gonna stay in it. Twiz flashes away. Mace picks up the kill, and that is a 6-1 Ashe. She does damage now.
Oh my lord. Okay, so Ashe is notoriously a low damage champion when even. I think we've all experienced this with every champion in the game, but if they get 6-1 in the early game, suddenly it doesn't matter if they're a low damage champ. They will do a lot of damage.
Shanghai is tanking the tower here. Flash away. Shang gonna go down. Pixelated Pizza with the flash outplay on the top side.
Yeah. Revolution is in shambles already. Yeah, so I did want to go back to that bot lane 2v2 that we just saw. The 2-for-1 where Ashe picks up both kills, really, really well played by Mace, I think. Doc just going a little too ham, flashes forward on to the Misfortune. Didn't have access to that Killer Instinct yet, so still was waiting on a pretty large cooldown that could have been used to look for that kill, but it does result in this Ashe just getting so big. You already see the Kraken Slayer completed, which will do decent work into Mundo Nautilus. Who would have guessed? Tank shredding item does well into tanks. But here
The
comes
depth charge. Onto the Ash. Flash will come through, and the hook will just hit the wall. Kiltron now going to take a lot of damage. Doc also tanking some minions. Good sidestep, like you said, but Doc is very low and still tanking minion. Buddy. This is risk. This is risk.
Oh my god.
Time barely doesn't hit, and Doc will stay alive at the end of it all.
Yeah, and this is so much burn from Revolution for no gain. They spend so much time with Levy bot side that it does lead to the Rift Herald being picked up by Dizzy up in the top half. And again, Imperium right now just looking so clean. Sheng playing a little too greedy in that tower dive top side. Shadow and Mace just... Dear Lord, this is disgusting to watch, but it does look to be that Luden's full... Or sorry, Luden's... Liandry's full AP build for Shadow as well. Has the Sork boots. Has that Fiendish Codex as well. So I'm interested to see if it's going to be like full AP, what's going to happen. I'm hoping it is. But for the time being, yeah, it's all coming up in favor of Imperium.
Well, it's all coming up in favor of Mace right now, and you can see that in the gold there. Silent Snow actually taking a lot of damage. Chrono Shift will come through, but Twiz is holding off on it. Shen also hits, and Twiz maybe in a little bit of trouble. There's the taunt. The bomb is going to hit, and that will be the turnaround. Pixelated Pizza once again outplaying the opponent by just using the mind games.
Yeah, very well played, very well communicated as well from Imperium, not burning that Shen ult too early, trying to keep Twiz entertained for that Shen to come in. And as a result, again, Levy seen caught catching the mid wave, just wrong place, wrong time. It will lead to that Rift Herald dropping bot side, first tower taken bot side, and oh my lord, is this Ashe accelerated as all hell.
Yeah, I mean, look, she'll slow everybody else down, but she is going at Mach speed in this game if you consider how much gold she has been getting. And it is just going to get worse and worse. The Kraken Slayer is picked up to help with that damage issue against the Mundo. Here comes Crystal Arrow, doesn't hit. Dizzy got to use the Glacial Prison, followed up by Shadow's Bullet Time, and it will be a pickup for Dizzy at the end of it with another kill in the mid lane and another great momentum shift for Rev. Sheng. Buddy, you gotta really watch what you're doing there.
So worth noting, because this is baffling to me, it is 13.5 minutes, and that is a fully completed Shards of True Ice. What? Like, that's ridiculous. That is insanely good for this early game.
Yeah, a little surprising there. As dude, look, Sheng has been farming very well, all things considered. 122 farm, 8.8 CS per minute in the game. Definitely been doing very well on that end. Just hasn't been making it work out in the kill department as of yet. Levy chasing down Silent Snow on the bot side here, and now you don't chase a Zilean. He is gonna just run you around the map.
Yeah. And especially with Levy not opting into popping the ultimate, does have the red smite as well, so will not be able to, slow him down at all. Second Drake, once again, Imperium, this is where they need to look to try and force a fight, try and push the issue. TP's coming in already from Sheng.
Yeah, Dizzy was caught in the pit, will just dash away, but gets hooked by Kilotron. There's the depth charge onto Mace, though, and that's gonna be a little bit scary. Mace does get back over. Bullet Time will just do a bunch of damage over the wall onto Twiz. And now Shockwave, but it's onto the tanks now. There is a big stun. Pixelated Pizza onto that backside, and the front line is not taking any damage. Imperium, they don't care. Mace is just walking wherever he pleases, and that is the one who will be winning the fight. Levy staying alive, but will be going down. Sheng is the only person left. And that is another dragon going to Imperium. Shanghai, you gotta leave, buddy. Buddy guy pal.
Gosh, the bomb doesn't land, thankfully enough for Sheng, but yeah, Imperium just doing work with this composition. I didn't think they would be able to do so. The damage profile just seemed all over the place, all out of whack, but Mace shutting me up, proving me wrong, doing so much work on the Ashe, and I think a little bit of disrespect from Twiz and Doc in that fight in particular. Shadow doing so much work with that Bullet Time, with the Make It Rain as well, and
this
yeah,
looks,
you can see This looks like last
similar.
game.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu going on.
I think
definitely.
I think I tend to agree with you. Definitely similar gold graph across different games, but the big thing to take note of, I think Imperium still playing it a little too slow for what their comp is looking to do. I mentioned Miss Fortune at that level 10 point, not really going to get any stronger than she was at level 9. Level 11, sure, you get that bullet time upgrade, but with this AP build, you tend to fall off pretty substantially, so I feel like they're just not pushing it as hard as they needed to in that early game. However, you know, being 5K
Well,
ahead feels
okay. So here's the thing. She'll scale a little bit better because now her Q does have some
Sure.
AP scaling. Her alt does have the AP scaling now, which I don't believe was the case at the last point where APMF was a thing. Also, interesting thing that I just noticed: Shadow has not put a point in the Q yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a mana sink that doesn't do damage with APMF, so I'm not against it. Dizzy might be caught. Could look to turn this with the ult.
Yeah, turning that around onto Levy, and there's the stun, but it does not follow up. But there is the taunt on Pixelated Pizza. Big bullet time across two, and Shanghai low. That's their tank, and he's going to go down. Double kill for the Misfortune. Killatron going to be going down pretty shortly as well, and that is you being told to shut up, Brennan, because the MF just got 2 kills.
I like APMF. I think it's fun. I love seeing AP Misfortune. It's always a treat to watch. Not fun to play against in any capacity, but yeah, Shadow doing so much work. You mentioned not putting a point into the queue. Before I was so rudely interrupted by that fight. Never mind, another one.
Yeah, Flash from Twiz will keep him alive. Pixelated Pizza definitely not healthy enough to keep going on that, but pressure still going. 2 towers taken on the top and mid. All of the momentum is going in Imperium's pocket.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Mace is going to be looking to build as their third item. Did just pick up the Blade of the Ruined King, which, again, when you're looking at Tank Shred, it's a pretty effective item. It helps with the kiting potential as well, gives you so much move speed in addition to slowing them down even more, slowing down your targets, that is. And it looks to be building the Rage Knife, so potentially a Ginsu's third item. Really like this, as, again, proccing on hits more often means you're going to be shredding through these tanks more often and like just ridiculously fast when you have that Kraken Slayer as well.
Yeah, so you say potentially. Can you give me examples of what other options there are?
With Rage Knife?
Mm-hmm.
You just sit on Rage Knife and just, grief, basically. I totally have seen players do this where they have like enough gold for a Rage Knife after getting a random double or triple kill in the early game, and they buy a whole Rage Knife, which you're paying 200 gold for 1% attack speed. Don't do that, please. It's pretty bad. But if you build the full Ginsu's, it's a pretty good item.
Yeah, well, we will see. Dragon gonna be spawning in a minute. Here is actually the Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto Doc, who is gonna go down. Actually, there is the Zonias. They don't time the volley right. Doc gets away with a little bit of help from his friends on the other side of the map. Nope, wait, there is the flash, the speed up. Yeah, this is why you don't put points in the queue, because you're so damn fast, you just walk up and flash E.
I mean, that's part of it. The other part is it is a Cloud Rift, so Misfortune's even faster. She does have tier 2 boots, so even faster than that. I mean, the Q, like I was mentioning before, it just doesn't do anything when you're APMF. It's pretty bad. But, yeah, I mean, you mentioned Doc was able to live, and even if Misfortune doesn't go for that flash, make it rain to secure the kill, this Drake is basically free for the side of Imperium. I don't think there's a world in which Revolution could have contested that with Kai'Sa having to be taking that reset. They just wouldn't be in position to really do anything about it. Shadow, though, playing a little far forward, could be punished if there's a little more support. Doesn't look to be the case. Drake goes over, and that is now the third Drake for Imperium. This is a completely different game from game 1. Oh my lord.
Yeah, blue side seems to be the best side tonight, as Imperium looking about as strong as Revolution did in game 1. And the push will still continue to come through, and this is kind of what can happen. You have a Shen who can just split push to Oblivion, never needs to be with the team until the right time. You have a Ashe and a Misfortune who will be sieging non-stop. The amount of ranged poke that they can throw down while taking towers is really strong. And now with that Rift Herald on the top side, it's just going to get worse and worse here before it ever gets better for Revolution.
Yeah, they do still have that potential to scale, but part of the issue with Doc running on to this AD Kai'Sa build is you don't have that reliable poke. You don't have the ability to face check with your W. It's still okay in terms of your damage profile, and I think it fits what the composition looks to do better, but there's just not enough there, and this is so late of a TP coming out from Twiz.
Yeah, Twiz not really putting that TP to use. Maybe they can turn it into a tower pickup if the reset comes through. But I think ultimately it's just going to be a bit of a loss for them. Shanghai going pretty far forward there. Does not have much protection. Shockwave onto 2. There's the Zeri wallbang, but not going to be enough. Shanghai has to flash away, has the maximum dosage on, trying to tank up, and Levy's on the backside. Levy's starting to do a little bit of damage, but it's not enough because Mace is throwing out a whole hell of a lot of damage. Flash taunt from Pixelated Pizza to put him in their graves. And with this Baron, that is almost assuredly an inhib going down for Rev.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going from bad to worse for Revolution. This is the classic, right? We've seen this several times from Revolution over the course of this season, where they take a very convincing game 1. Game 2, it all looks to fall apart.
Look at MF second in the game in gold.
All 5 members of Imperium are higher than every member of Revolution. That is ridiculous. I do not remember the last time I've seen this in a game.
Well, I mean, like, yes, I agree with that, and also just the fact that Misfortune support is second in the gold graph.
We don't talk bad about MF. I mean,
it's not that I'm talking bad. It's that it's just genuinely surprising that the support is second in the game for gold. Damage, I can understand if you're playing Zyra, but for gold specifically, that is never the case.
Sure. Counterpoint. The only thing I have bad to say about Shadow so far is that they're running the wrong skin. There was a new MF skin. Come on, you got to be using that. But the Make It Rain does feel pretty good with
Who's paying for it, Brennan? Who's paying for it? I don't think any money is going to be coming out of your account for it.
Don't remind me. We're not going to talk about that right now. But it's a very dominant spot right now for this side of Imperium. I think they're looking to just kind of choke out the rest of this game. The Rage Blade completed for Mace as well. I really would like to see this paired with the last item Hurricane. I think with the amount of team fighting that's been going on, the amount of clumping that Revolution has been doing, it would be such an effective item to really put the nail in the coffin here. Does look to be opting into probably a Wit's End, not entirely against it, but still a little awkward to me. Would prefer the Hurricane.
Definitely top lane tower going to be going down pretty soon. Bot lane tower does go down for Revolution as Twiz is just trying to hold on to this as long as possible, tanking those double bombs. Look at how much damage this Zilean puts down. And the Shockwave does whiff. Silent Snow gotta get the double bomb. Twiz, you are dead, I believe, buddy. Nope, doesn't go down just yet. Barely survives. But top lane is not going any better for them as top lane tower looking to go down pretty shortly if the siege continues.
Yeah, and I mean, Imperium does fairly well with the Baron. They take that mid inhibitor. They take all of the remaining outer turrets as well across the map. However, they're only able to break that one inhib, right? I say only like it's not great, but that was how they started their Baron. I would have liked to see them get a little more done. Look to clump his 5. Look to just maybe even 4-1, keep the Shen in the side lane with the ultimate up. However, they are going to pivot all of this pressure down into that Cloud Soul, get this for themselves. Super, super strong ability on the Ashe, on the Zilean, on the Sejuani, even on the Shen, right? Shen ports in, all of a sudden he's running it at Mach 20 because that's what Cloud Soul does. So I'm very excited to see if they're going to be able to close this one out. it feels like they're playing towards the second Baron. They'll look to take that and then look to take the game as a result.
Absolutely, and I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, you said the pressure only getting one inhib, but it is an inhib at a crucial time, and that Cloud Soul will be picked up. And with the picks that have been happening, this definitely seems like Imperium are able to just do that even better than they were before. We're gonna take a little bit of damage and try and clear out the wards. Twiz trying to grab wolves as well, but knows that he cannot stay around. There's so little scraps available for Revolution as they are trying to hold on to the rest of their base.
Dear Lord, Shadow, just these Make It Rains do so much work already. Has the double dot as well with the Liandry's demonic build, so gonna be just putting in so much work. Shang, bud, you don't want to walk at Ashe, I promise.
You never know. It might look. He just wants to talk. Is Revolution gonna just hold off? And like you said, it is just a wait for the Baron in 30 seconds. Blue buff gonna be donated over to the Misfortune for that extra siege potential. And it is just setting this up. Look at the vision control that Imperium have on this topside jungle. How many instances of wards or some sort of vision they have.
Yeah, I mean, everything right now feels so heavily in favor of Imperium. I mean, they're sitting at, what, an 11k gold lead at 27.5 minutes. Second Baron spawning now. This should just... Oh my gosh, Shadow.
Oh, Killatron. Unfortunately launched in there, and that is the loss of a blast cone. Killatron now chasing down, interrupts the bullet time, but the Levy is not able to get around into the Baron. Jumps over the wall, but will just go down. Killatron also falling apart. TP comes from Shang, but it's just to watch the rest of the team run back. And now a teleport from the Zilean is to a place he could have walked. Pixelated Pizza also backing off because he took a lot. Chrono Shift used on the Shen as well. Shang trying to come around on this backside, but you don't have any way for your front line to help you here, buddy.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Pixelated Pizza actually take the reset, TP back onto a minion. You're so low on the Shen right now, but they look like they just want to take the fight, try to close this one out. Oh, they're backing off.
They're backing off. They're not going for it just yet, and they want to just get the reset and push down. Play it very safe, it seems like. Still sticking around, just throwing down more damage, because why not? Screw you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their strength did reset with Mace taking that back. So a little awkward, I would think. I think you could have even just looked to take the reset for the Shen, TP onto one of the side lanes. You had both side lanes pushing into those T3s, so could have been a very good angle to look. However, a few pings coming through. They will be playing towards that Elder Drake here, it seems like, in 2 minutes, which I don't think they need to do. I think they can just look to close this one out right now. Oh my gosh, that graph is ridiculous.
13.7k at its max. Very absurd stuff from Imperium, but still, you know, taking it slow, taking it step by step to avoid any kinds of mistakes here. Shadow just cleaning up the rest of that Scuttle Crab and push coming in on the bot and the top side, splitting this up as a Shen is wont to do. Glacial Prison gonna miss on the bot side on the dock, a key engagement tool down.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you lose Glacial Prison, but you have an Ashe Arrow, which is another really good form of engage, and a turbo-fed Ashe. So it feels pretty rough for Revolution either way. Turrets falling everywhere, 2 inhibs down, the third one soon to fall. And this might be the angle, especially with Shockwave going
Oh
down.
yeah, arrow hits into the Mundo rather, who does not get stun. Levy trying to kite this one out, but the gold difference is just too big. The stats aren't there. Bullet time onto the Kaisa, takes her down, and it is just Twiz against the world, but he is just gonna watch the world crumble around him. And that will be game 2 for Imperium. We are going to a game 3 for, I believe, the 3rd time this season.
Yeah. 1, 2. It looks like 4th. From
4th
what
time.
I'm seeing. But
time is fake. It is.
I
never
think you're
been a real
just
3.
forgetting about the first time we went to 3 games. There was a particular player who might have locked in Yuumi in those games. I don't know who it could have possibly been.
I heard they benched that player after that, though.
Actually, it wasn't the week after. But regardless, yeah, a very, very strong turnaround coming out from Imperium. And I think it's worth noting right now, the only scenario where the loser of this game could have made playoffs would be if Revolution lost in 3 games and GSG Sigma lost 0-2 to GNE Ruby. The results from the other series have come in. GSG won 2-0 over GNE Ruby, which means game 3 is a playoff deciding game. You win game 3, you're in playoffs. You lose, you're done for the season. It's backs against the wall for both these teams right now, and Imperium looked so strong in the second game of the series.
Absolutely, but we are going to take a break to get ready for game 3, guys. It is seasons on the line, so don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back after this break. All right, everybody, it is time. It is game 3. It is do or die for both these teams because you win, you're in, you lose, you're going home and watching playoffs from the couch. It is time to get underway as we are going to get into game 3 here. Draft should be starting very shortly here. I'm Thousand alongside NXL on the left, and what are you hoping here for, Brennan?
All right, so again, personal bias. I play for one of these teams normally, so I kind of want to see my team make playoffs. I would like to be playing next week, but we will have to see how that's going to play out. I think so far some interesting bans. I'm actually surprised to see the Shen being banned away. I don't think that was realistically a huge problem. However, they are going to take away the Zilean. Definitely like seeing that. Jinx still left open. Once again, Revolution on the blue side. They banned it away in place of the Shen last game, so that will be left open. Should be taking that one right now. And, I mean, we saw the issue with Kai'Sa, who was a more mobile AD carry. Did not have a fun time into the Ashe MF, so I'm interested to see if that's going to be the run back coming through from Imperium. And I almost kind of wish that they would do it instantly. They're going to take the Ashe. Maybe the Misfortune to follow. Maybe they hold it to 3. You know that Revolution shouldn't be picking it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think you can hold on to the Misfortune here because you don't expect.
Nope.
Nope.
Never mind.
What's draft strategy? I want champ. Me pick champ.
I mean, it worked wonders last game.
It did.
Right?
No, I'm not hating on the pick because it did really work well. I'm more just like, y'all could have just left that and left it up to chance there.
It's season 6 all over again.
There we go. Okay. So we are getting a little bit of some mix up here. And we did see this get banned in the second half against Revolution. It messes me up when they say RIA in the freaking draft.
Yeah, I know.
Revolution did get the Pyke banned away from them in game 2 after they weren't able to succeed in getting that pick for this matchup now. But now they have some aggression. They have something that is much more aggro, even more aggro than the Nautilus that they had. And now we'll see if that snowball can come through, because a Pyke giving gold to a Jinx is just absolutely nuts coming out of your bot lane scaling.
Yeah, and you can even give it over to the Zeri, to what's probably going to be another Orianna game for Twiz. I don't see a world in which Imperium looks to ban that, but we will have to see, of course. There's always some shenanigans that can happen. Killatron and Pyke, when Killa's not playing Renata, he's probably looking to play Pyke. It's just such a huge comfort pick for this player, and he looks pretty good on it when it all is said and done, and it does fairly well into a lot of immobile lanes. However, Misfortune, that strut is so much move speed, it's so easy to dodge a Bone Skewer. Ashe MF with the range advantage once again on the Pyke. He's able to deal with the poke a little more effectively, of course, but I don't know, it still feels a little less than ideal, and we're even seeing the Sylas ban coming out, so no Ashe ult to be stolen, no Sejuani ult to be stolen. I really like seeing this, just as a respect ban coming out from Imperium.
And I think this also shows that Imperium aren't just doing this out of the blue, but they have an idea of what are the counters to this composition, what are the things that they could go up against that they would struggle with. And I like that they're banning that away. The Sylas not going to come through. The Malphite not going to get onto Imperium's draft this time around. So another tank is going to have to come through. It's not going to be the Shen, not going to be the Set. It has to be another tank in the top side. Maybe we see something like an Ornn.
And I think Ornn would actually fit this composition very well. They're actually going to take away the Orianna this time, so we're going to see something new from Twiz as well, holding that top lane for the R5. I know a certain player who may or may not be the top laner for Revolution has some games with Sejuani top as well, TP Ignite, so we'll have to see if maybe Imperium's picked up on that tech even, and we'll hold the Sedge as a weird flex pick. But I really do like the Malphite ban, reading the fact that Sylas was banned away. Oh my gosh, the aspect of Twilight has been locked in Wow.
Okay. So we have not seen Zoe in the meta for a
A hot
good
minute.
long while. And I think part of that is just the amount of healing and the lack of true one shot that Zoe's been capable of doing. But definitely when you're looking at a Miss Fortune and an Ashe, these are okay, B5 Renekton.
Oh, jeez.
All
So
right.
I will say, Shanghai has looked very strong on the Renekton in some recent games, but it is a very punishable pick, and if you're not really able to generate a lead, he's very susceptible to being kited out. Oh, jeez. All right,
Oh.
Imperium taking a page out of the Shanghai book in this third game as well. Sion going to be locked in. That should be, I would assume, the classic Hullbreaker build. However, you can still just build straight tank on Sion, show up to fights, be a menace, and the tank shred from Revolution is so concerning. You have to rely on Jinx to do it with a Kraken, but if she's running Kraken Slayer, Ashe, Miss Fortune, Sejuani, gonna have a field day with this champion, so it's a very, very touch-and-go composition, I think, from Revolution, and Imperium just looking to run it back and secure themselves this spot in playoffs.
I mean, you talk about the tank shred capability here, and I think the issue is less that they have two champs that will absolutely shred tanks. It's more, do they have the time to do so? Because what is your
Yes.
front line here? It is a Renekton. And that's it.
Yeah.
You got nothing else really running your front line here. It's all about skirmishes here, which is generally the case when you have a champ like the Pyke. It is all in on the early game, and it almost feels like it is really weird to take a Jinx in that aspect. If you're gonna go for something like this, you almost have to ban the Jinx away and go for like a Lucian or something of that sort. But it seems like that late game capability, the snowball capability of the Jinx, is something that Revolution want to prioritize and want to get in their hands.
Yeah, I mean, they will need to play to the same win condition as game one, right? You get Jinx one kill in a fight, you look to reset her, you look to reset the Pyke, Zeri has the resets as well. So there is like some identity there. The concern, however, comes in with the fact that you are opting into this very, very low tankiness composition against the Ashe, who's going to be able to kite you out very effectively. The Miss Fortune, who, same deal, going to kite you out very effectively. You have this double front line coming in from Imperium, and an Orianna to round things out, just a solid, stable mid laner. Sure, you get the favorable matchup of the Zoe into Ori. You have a decent skirmish with the Pyke into any sort of jungle 2v2, 2v3, 3v3, whatever with the Zeri. The Renekton into Sion is pretty tough, to say the least. And it just feels a little all over the place. You mentioned there's not really a lot of frontline. Imperium, last game my concern was with their low damage composition being able to deal with the front line. All of a sudden, if there is no front line, that's not really a problem. And you now have the ability for Orianna to just build the Ludens, go for this full like one-shot build, and if she hits 2-3 people with an ult, they're all gonna die instantly.
Yeah, it's looking really scary for any kind of full-on team fights. When you look at Imperium versus Revolution, it is just all Imperium for team fights. And then you look at the possibility of the split push at a certain point. I'm gonna go out on a limb, say it's probably gonna be the Hullbreaker. It's gonna be the split push focus Sion that comes through, because you're still tanky when you go that build, which is why it sucks and I hate it and it needs to be nerfed. But overall, eventually, no matter what, that Renekton is not going to be able to do anything against that Sion. Really, the time bomb, Zilean got banned, but the time bomb is there and it is ticking for Revolution in order to get their pass into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this is do or die for both these teams, right? And I think this time around, Imperium, for arguably the first time in the series, has had the better draft, and it just feels more cohesive. It feels like it's designed with purpose. It has something that it can do and that it's looking to do. The past few games have looked interesting from both sides, but it's been all about blue side. Maybe, just maybe, Revolution will be able to take this one towards the end of it. And you mentioned it. it is going to be do or die for both these teams. A win is necessary if you want to continue your season.
Yeah, but we are going to take a quick break to get ready for the last game of the night, the last game of the season for one of these teams. Will it be Revolution? Will it be Imperium? You're going to have to wait until after this break to find out. And welcome back in, everybody, to the Game 3, the decider for both these teams. Rev on the blue side, Imperium on the red, and we're seeing some early level 1 shenanigans, as we probably could have expected from this team composition.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only way you realistically get anything done with Revolution's composition. We mentioned, we were talking a little bit during the break between load-in, but there's not really a whole lot that this composition can do. If they ever fall behind, they don't have a way to pull the trigger. There's no way for them to really start fights. You look at the side of Imperium, however, even if they fall behind, they have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they have that Glacial Prison, the Pain Train from Pixelated Pizza as well. There's so many different things, so many different tools that they have to really take the game into their control. It feels a little disjointed from Revolution.
Very much so, but it does feel like there are positives here, because we did see Sheng do well in the top lane when he has had a good matchup, right? The game 1, the Mundo into the set looked really good. The Mundo was very quickly doing a lot of work into that set. The bot lane has had some strong points for themselves. It's just really, can they make that happen on their schedule more than anything?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of my questions still lie in this Zeri jungle pick. I think even like having played with it, it doesn't really feel all that effective, especially after looking at the last game. It just fell so far behind. There was no angle for it to come back into the game, and it almost reminds me of something like a Shaco, where you have to get a lead early. You have to try to do something ridiculous to get any sort of a lead, and if you don't, you're just not really worth much as the game progresses.
Yeah, trading going on in the mid lane as well, forcing through all of those corrupting pots. Doc also taking some damage. Shanghai dashing in, dashing out. You can't see me if I move too fast. And it's just a pretty standard start overall. Zeri starting to get up towards that top side.
I don't know about you can't see me, but we'll have to see. Actually, Pixelated Pizza being taken fairly low here.
Yeah, getting a little bit low. Sheng now going in, has the dash on the Rage, and now will flash forward. First blood, Shanghai going to get it. Will he get out? Stun comes through, waiting on the Q cooldown. Pixelated Pizza. Why did you walk back in, Sheng?
Oh no. So that is about the only time that I think Renekton should be able to do a ton in that top lane setting. You get the level 2, level 3. It's probably your strongest point in the lane. If you're able to get that kill, you might be able to actually transition that into more, but Sion being able to turn one back is so big. Look at where the wave state is as well. It's tough. Kill is taking a tower shot here.
Yeah, but he is getting a lot of damage in return. Mace taking a nice solid chunk, but not for anything real gained.
I mean, yeah, it's just... it's unfortunate, right? Both top laners will be keeping their teleports for the time being, so they will at least have that in common, but the wave just so favorable there.
Oh, wait, there's the wall bang as Levy's gonna dash in, say hello, get the flash out of Silent Snow, walk back down towards the bottom side.
Oh,
Hook.
Down.
Yeah, Hook does not hit, and Killatron is getting extremely low. Flash forward, there is the Ignite as well. Shadow forcing Killatron to get the heal from Doc, and now you can see Pixelated Pizza already starting to turn that lane around in the top side.
Yeah, and this is gonna be tough now for Renekton. Sure, he has that Coalfield's Warhammer, but Sion has Soul Furnace. He doesn't really care. He just gets a ton of HP for killing creeps. So unlucky cannon there for Mace, but
And he has Overgrowth, so he gets
even more
HP by being around creeps that die.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be tough for Sheng going forward unless he opts into a hyper split push build of like a Blade of the Ruined King. He's still doing fine for the time being.
He's down a level and still winning here.
Yeah.
So It's just all about the cooldowns, really. That is always the Renekton game. There's a gank in the mid lane. Drowsy actually hits. The Q will connect. Twiz doing a bunch of damage. Ignite will hit. And that is Twiz picking up a kill. Top lane also, Sheng gets the kill. Is he going to go down, though? This time he's walking. He doesn't go back in. He learned his lesson. Give him the round of applause. And that is 2 free kills over to Revolution.
Sheng, DM me after this game. You get a cookie for learning in a game. I'm very proud of you. But, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what needs to happen. I'm a little surprised that one came through. I think Pixelated Pizza just playing it a little awkwardly. However, with that longsword and the Ruby Crystal picked up, it's going to be Hullbreaker Scion. So, doesn't really matter what Renekton builds or how strong he gets. Scion's just going to be a menace and sit in a side lane and split push and take towers for free.
Yeah, here's the level 6 on the Shanghai, though, and now Renekton going forward. Pixelated Pizza not having a fun time. Ult burn just for the lane pressure and forcing this Scion back under the tower. Right now, things going okay. Killatron, meanwhile, in that bot lane, while Jinx does have a solid CS lead, it is not turned into a kill just yet. And Pyke's early game prowess does have to get going pretty early on.
Yeah, and he's going to be caught here, but we'll just dash out. It's Pyke. I think it's Hylissang that's notorious for the split push. Oh my gosh, top lane?
Yeah, Shanghai is doing some work. And this is kind of what we saw in game 1. He got a little bit of a lead for himself and made a big deal out of it as the game went on. Keeping the pressure on, and with that Fury up, it's just going to get worse and worse. Zeri over on this dragon, maybe getting some bot lane action, which just means Shanghai now looking to go for a dive on this top.
Yeah, it still feels a little haphazard. Pixelated Pizza does have the 6, but Shadow's tagged.
Oh yeah, that is a great hook, and that is going to be the pick up there. Easy kill. Ignite helps him get it, and Killatron now having to back away. Mace is now 2v1ing. Will get the Q for the slow. Mace is now getting hit by the zap. The flash forward from Doc, and Sejuani will come to say, back up, guys. It is time for the reset.
Yeah, I don't think Dizzy really wants to look for anything more aggressive here. However, with this bot lane being super low, I would assume Levy has to just leave this Drake alone. No bot lane available to respond, so we'll just take the crab instead. We heard the pain train going up towards the top side. The farm alarm, as some may call it. Twiz finds the bubble.
Yeah, Twiz looking really solid on this Zoe, all things considered here. For all the worries that we had about it, I feel like Twiz has looked pretty solid on it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you for sure. I think, though, the big thing to note is this is where Revolution's comp will be the strongest, right? It's going to be in this early to mid game. This is basically where Imperium's looking to play it kind of slow. Shadow can be a little more aggressive and will probably be the majority of the early game, but Silent Snow, you poor thing.
Oh yeah, Hook will come through, a little bit of damage, and it's not going to turn into a kill, but it is going to mean that Twiz will be able to back pretty freely here without any risk. Q's being used on the minion wave means Shanghai is going to go in. Conqueror procced. There is the damage coming through. Oh, pink ward down just to try and get the stun. That is the second time I've seen that. I'm pretty sure Pixelated Pizza's putting that down just to get the stun and try and bait that out.
That's hilarious, actually.
That's hilarious. It has not worked. It has not worked yet.
If that's the tech, though, that's genius. And I
can't think of another reason, because it's been twice now that has happened.
I mean, if it works once, that's worth it for all of the failed attempts, honestly. That is like mental warfare at its finest. So I think that's hilarious. Like the idea, even if it's not working out so far. However, the big thing to take note of, we mentioned this in games 1 and 2. The early game team that Imperium drafted for both those games really needed to try to kind of push their pedal to the floor, play for those early Drakes. This time around, Revolution in that kind of boat.
Oh, level 6 is here. Stun's actually going to stop the bullet time, and Doc is going to go forward. They're trying to get him under the health threshold, but not going to get it, and Killatron's going to walk into a Sejuani Glacial Prison. Sit down, double kill from Mace, and that is not what you want to see if you are a Revolution fan or maybe on the team and sitting on the bench.
Didn't have to at me like that, but Yeah, very good play. I think it was still a little miscommunicated. Dizzy was in the area initially, backed off as that play started. Shang, oh
Shang
no.
taking
No
a
mana!
lot of tower damage. Levy gonna take the red buff and peace out for that. Maybe going for this Rift Herald here to just try and get a little bit of map pressure somewhere and keep that foot down on the pedal, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning right before the fight broke out in the bottom lane, but both times the early game team has needed to try to push for some early lead. No way, man.
Dizzy's gonna come in and see this as the Dominus is popped. Big damage onto Snow, but the hook doesn't connect, and that will just be the back off. Still waiting on this Pyke ultimate to come through, taking the cut, and nothing gained just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about how early game teams need to play around early Drakes. So far this series, it hasn't happened. We haven't seen teams look for like a 6-7 minute Drake. This time around was no different. Drake wasn't taken until about the 9-10 minute mark, right? But games 1 and 3, the late scaling team took the first Drake, which feels a little disjointed. Twiz might find a solo kill. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is absolutely a kill. But on the bot side, there is the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Killatron gets on to Shadow for a bit, but it's just the back away. I was just about to bring it up here as Hook's going to get charged up. Killatron hooks a minion, and he's just going to go down. Flashes for nothing. Doc is now left alone. There is the early Mega Death Rocket, and Imp Shadow stays alive at the end of it all. So this bot lane is going haywire for Revolution.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit about this in the draft. We were talking a little bit about this at the start of the game. If they fall behind early, it's so hard for Revolution to get anything done this game. Sure, they're getting some gold off of this Rift Herald into the mid lane. Sure, Twiz doing work 2-0-0 on the Zeri, but we saw it last game. Mace on the Ashe is a force to be reckoned with, and already starting it strong, 3-0-1.
And I want to give credit where it is due, because the Jinx is the one part of the composition that is capable of falling behind and being okay.
Yes.
Right? And Pyke, to an extent, as long as he shows up to fights, as there is a fight in the top side, Shanghai, with that Gore Drinker very strong. And like you said, the Zoe in the mid lane, also really, really strong right now, as here is the engaged Drowsy going to hit, and now they're going to get the ult. There is the death from below. It is Zeri that picks that one up. Shadow hanging a little bit too far forward. Maybe Killatron looking to go forward for this, but will back away. There's the Glacial Prison. Killatron should be able to back out. No, here comes the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. The stun will hit, and now Levy is trying to kite them out. Gonna try and get the kill on to Dizzy. Will get that one, but not before the Pyke dies. Meanwhile, up at the top side, Shanghai and Pixelated Pizza going at it. Doc has showed up on the bot side. Sleep will get into the traps as Doc is going to flash over to the other side. They're going to get the kill onto the Ashe. Zap is going to barely miss. Twiz wants this kill, but does not have the mana to do so. So it is just going to be a back away at the end of it all. Wait, bullet time comes through. Levy's going to go down as well. Oh, greeted for the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I mean, crab obtained, so worth? Question mark? Oh, no.
Doc. Buddy. Guy. Pal. We need to talk.
I'm not your buddy, guy. All right. Anyway. I'm going insane. This game makes no sense right now. But you mentioned Jinx, the one part of this composition for Revolution that can totally get work done. Those gold numbers look weird to me.
That's so wild.
Is that? I
There's
must feel
no
like
way
that's
that's
wrong.
real.
But
there's no way that's real.
We'll take a look in post game later, because that's.
Is it just because Pyke?
It might just be because Pyke. That would be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Jinx, the one scaling component that this Revolution comp has. However, the one thing that Jinx struggles with, even when she scales, is staying alive against dive. And there's lots of CC and dive and just kiting and chase down. And I don't know. Even if Jinx is able to come back into this one, I don't think she's going to be able to do too much against the front line of this Sejuani Scion. And with how strong Ashe has been so far, Shadow has looked menacing on this Misfortune 2 games in a row now. It's hard. However, Drake priority does go over to Revolution here. Scion will be pushing the top lane. almost has that Hull Breaker completed, so we'll just be looking to try to trade that second Drake for that tower, I would assume. We'll have to see.
Possibly. A lot being sent over here. And with this Zoe, they do have the capability of just zoning them out pretty hard. Twiz is very scary right now. Hook's charging up. Killatron not going to hit anything, but the dragon will be picked up. Smite is good. And now maybe move over to the mid lane to try and confirm the first brick of the game. Oh, Drowsy's gonna hit, but I think there's too far under tower to do anything about it.
Yeah, and especially using the portal jump and the paddle star a little early. I would say the paddle star going wide on a target standing still is a little unfortunate for Twiz. Sion will be pushing out the top lane, trying to get work done. Okay.
Stopwatch being used by the Jinx on the bot side. Silensto still not getting hit by these hooks, but first tower is gonna go down in favor of Revolution, even though they are losing this bot side pretty heavily.
Yeah, Doc having to burn the stopwatch as well. You don't want to see that burned early under tower, of all things. That is about the worst case scenario for that cooldown. Only matched by, I would say, a Fat Finger.
Sweeper is going to hit Dizzy. Actually, the Krugs saved Dizzy's life, but Sheng is going to flash forward, dash forward, try and go for the kill. There is the Dominus to come through. Actually, not just yet. We'll look for it soon. Levy going a bit far forward and will back away, but overall, they pick up Dizzy on that kill. Nice Sweeper for that vision.
Yeah, good collapse coming out from Revolution as well. Dizzy just didn't realize they were warded out, so definitely can understand why that was less than ideal. But big pick for Revolution. They will be able to secure that kill onto the jungler. I believe the flash was burned as well, so it's small advantages right now, but again, this MF is so strong, and good buffer on that Ashel just to keep Pyke alive. I mean, Ori 03, that's a good start for Rev.
Yeah. The bargaining begins.
I'm not biased. I'm not. Hook lands.
Yeah, so right now, I think right now it's going to be the backs coming through, which may open up a Rift Herald opportunity. Killatron going to try and hold here as Twiz shows up to pick up a couple of more minions, and it is... Yeah, oh, wait, are they going to fight this? So the Rift Herald's taking a while. Twiz throwing down the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Hook hits, but it's on to Pixelated Pizza. He is taking a good chunk of damage, though. And here's the Lightning Crash. Levy going forward, very far forward. Bullet time into the crevice there. Twiz trying to keep the Orianna out as Shanghai is a big, beefy bruiser boy doing some damage. Shanghai getting a lot onto the Sion. Sion will go down. Killatron. Actually, Shanghai, you need to maybe get out there. There is the kill onto the MF. Twiz is doing work, and they're going to keep chasing. Shockwave hits onto 2, but no kills just yet. It is Twiz again with the double kill, looking potent as all hell on this Zoe.
Yeah, very big fight coming out for Revolution here. I mean, Twiz just looking incredible on the pick. Was very surprised to see this one come out, and Twiz showing why it has been selected. It looked a little rough. It does end with Imperium still securing the Herald. I think they just overstay their welcome a little too much. Shadow, no need to be there. Yeah. Good ult coming out.
Yeah, and the Glacial Prison. Glacial Prison just misses too. So good stuff. Good ultimates being burned by Rev to get this next dragon in a little bit of a safer fashion too. Because you're looking at those cooldowns. Some of those... I don't think the Sejuani ult is going to be up before the next dragon fight.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's actually going to be about 20 seconds late from the looks of it. So we've seen a few times, though, Imperium, even without the Sejuani ult, have looked fairly solid. We saw it, I think, last game in particular, where a few instances, Dizzy using that cooldown a little too liberally. However, they still were able to turn those fights in the last game. We'll have to see if they're able to do it again. Lion has completed the Hull Breaker, but yeah, I don't think there's Strut is ridiculous. I
was half expecting the flash there.
That's fair. Yeah.
If they knew that MF was that alone there, they may have committed the flash for it before the dragon.
Yeah, we'll have to see though. I think again, this Drake is pretty inconsequential one way or the other. I think you can just give this over if you are Imperium. Try to play through getting a turret in one of your other lanes. Scion with the Hull Breaker completed would be my best guess for where you're focusing. But
Oh, what a good dash over Killatron, getting the pick just before the dragon spawns, all but confirming it for the side of Revolution as the Rift Herald will be spawned. They want to contest this. They want to fight for this. TP's going to come in. Renekton is looking to get into the fight. There is the sleep onto Dizzy, and now Killatron flashing forward, gets the stun, not onto the MF. The bullet time is doing a lot of work. Killatron is very low. Will start healing up. Levy has to flash away as there is Shanghai getting 2 kills. One of them getting over into the Pyke pocket, and now Revolution looking all but dominant here.
Yeah, really good response from Revolution there, just making sure to secure themselves that tier 1, or sorry, secure themselves the fight at the tier 1 turret. I really liked the call from Imperium, but unfortunately, Revolution just ready, prepared for it to come through. They respond perfectly to it, and honestly, Pixelated Pizza nowhere able to respond. Has the Hull Breaker, sure, but that wave was under their own tower. There was no response available. So yes, the Herald crashes. They get the tier 1. They get the crash on their tier 2, but everything right now is for Revolution. They're 8,000 gold in the lead at this point. And I mentioned it. They need to get a lead. They need to win this game early for them to really take this series. And they're starting to do it. Shutting down Orianna, shutting down Sedge, this is what needs to happen.
It looked a little iffy early on, but now they're finally starting to get their feet under them. The wheels are turning, and now Shadow, now in a little bit of trouble himself, has to be a little careful. Pyke is capable of just 1v1ing people at this point. If they are squishies, he can just dash in, get the Hail of Blades autos down, and immediately wipe people off the map. So keep your eyes on Killatron. Things can get very, very spicy for this Pyke if things are caught out. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to hit. There is the bullet time. That is the combo. That is what you expect. And Doc will go down, burning the heal in the process. But that's 2 ults for 1 person as Baron will spawn here.
Yeah, some Season 6 vibes coming in. Also, what is Hullbreaker? I don't know if we touched on this already. Oh, no, another bubble.
We're not going to touch on it here just yet. There is the... He's gone. That man's dead. Dizzy also very close to death here. Not tanky in the slightest. Still trying to finish a first item here. Shadow. Oh, there is so much mobility that Shadow really needs to be careful.
Yeah, these Sleepy Trouble Bubbles too, just barely going wide. Twiz, if one of these lands, we've seen it several times already, has the Luden's Shadow Flame and the Sorcerer's Shoes completed, so we'll just blow up anyone who's squishy. Looking at, I don't know, the Orianna, who has been having a tough time at this game. Kill on the flank.
Yeah, looking for it. There it is. Easy pickup there, and Twiz will get the kill credit there. As now here comes Shanghai on to Mace, and will not get the kill with the death from below, but will pick up the kill eventually. As here comes Pixelated Pizza with the nice ultimate down on the other side. Shanghai trying to dive under the tower. Levy is in the face of the Scion. I don't think that's where you want to be, because here's Silent Snow to provide the protection as well. Will dodge over the wall to avoid the Q smash down from Pixelated Pizza, and Shanghai's just got to ferry the jungler out of this fight. Overall, that is a pretty solid win, I think, for Imperium, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, they end up losing the fight, sure. It was 4v5, sure, but big thing to note, you get the shutdown onto the Zoe. Unfortunately, does go over to Dizzy and not over to Mace or Shadow here, but a pretty solid fight all around. However, we're seeing Shanghai just getting to the ridiculousness that Renekton can sometimes get to with the Score Drinker Death Stance completed, and Silent Snow so far behind. If this Orianna is even more fed, there's a decent shot that everyone just dies. So a little unfortunate to say the least. Shadow. Oh,
you don't even need to hit the hook anymore, buddy. You just kill him. Oh, nope. Didn't actually get it there. Will auto attack the Baron. Say, you know what? Baron, do my bidding. But overall, another death, and this MF has been punished pretty accordingly. Oh, these bubbles are very close, and now Silent
no.
Snow gonna go down as well. Mace is also very low, will go down thanks to Twiz. Everything falling apart after just finally getting some kind of positivity. Imperium watch it all fall apart as their inhibitor tower is gonna get targeted next.
Yep. Sion's caught.
Sion is caught. Glacial Prism will hit. Dizzy is not very tanky at all, especially when you have 280 carries, and they're just going to burn through. Pixelated Pizza also just barely not dying to the death from below. Twiz hopping onto the side, getting the Drowsy there, and will just grab, get pulled in, and get stunned by Killatron. And that is another hyper win for Revolution. First inhib down at about 25 minutes. Levy, screw you. You're getting hit by the Harrow.
That's just unlucky. The one thing that I really dislike from Imperium this time around as well, however, is the fact that you are opting into this hyper team fight composition. You're playing up against a team that really just wants to scrap, really just wants to skirmish. If you're looking to force fights, Pixelated Pizza buying that Hull Breaker, you just don't have the tankiness when you're in your team. If you are surrounded by even a single team member, a lot of that item's value is just gone. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't even need the bubble at this point. Just random Qs are going to chunk people out really hard. And remember, this patch was when they removed a lot of healing. They nerfed healing on almost all levels. Items, runes, everything got touched and dropped down a bit, meaning that that poke becomes even more potent.
Yeah. You say poke, I say Zoe's just one-shotting everyone right now, but
Is she dead after one hit?
I mean, if she hits a pedal star, yes. Like, just strictly yes. Yeah, that's a gold graph that exists.
That is a mountain.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle right now for Imperium, right? They need to be able to take just one fight. You get one fight, you get Silent Snow with a good Orianna ult. Maybe there's a world in which this turns back in your favor. However, not even on the second item.
Killatron doesn't get the ward.
Just GG support diff go next, I guess.
Honestly,
but,
yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking rough. The mid jungle this time around from Imperium just not able to get off the ground. They need to look to get something done, right? This has to be the angle where you look for that massive shockwave into the bullet time. You have Ashe raining damage over the top, and just you pray that's enough.
Yeah, I did want to point out, Ultimate from Death from Below has totally given 2,500 gold to Pyke. That is how much extra gold has been given to Shadow. Maybe going to be giving a little bit more over there. It is. Yep, will be getting hit by the Death from Below. Pyke will pick that one up, and is the support going down as they try to dance the Baron dance and stumble just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little over aggressive with their positioning. And this should just be a free Baron right now for Revolution. I don't see a world in which this gets stolen.
Well,
Shang.
Int the support.
Unfortunate, I suppose.
Dizzy
looking, though, in the area.
Does not have vision currently, so we'll just be going over blind. Does go over. Smite looked very close, and now Dizzy will die for it. They will flash over the wall. Very close stuff there, and I feel like you gotta give credit where it's due. That was honestly a lot closer than it should have been.
Yeah, Dizzy's looked good. Like, even the scoreline looks bad, right? Some of the fights, maybe not ideal, but in terms of playing around these objectives, Dizzy has looked extremely strong, and I'm interested to see if that's going to continue. Twiz not able to find the paddle star, but here could be a fight.
Yeah, this tower is dead in the water. There is the bullet time there. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out too late. Sion going in, but there's a wall in the way there, buddy. And now you have nobody to help you. You're getting hooked in. You're getting knocked down. You're going to be going down. Death from Below picks up another. Flash forward there. Gets another kill. 2 kills for the Pyke overall. And that is actually Zoe also picking another one up. Mace now alone. Goodbye, friend. Zoe does bonkers level damage, and that is going to be another kill. Wiped. Dizzy now the only person left alive for his team for the next long while. And Twiz wants to end this game. He wants to put the team in playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this should just be the call for the end. We saw it there. The team fight with the Hullbreaker sign, that's just not it. You cannot be looking for these types of engages when you are building this item, and that's just going to be the game.
Twiz dies to the tower at the end of it there, and that will be game in what looked to be a little bit rough there. Revolution actually pull it off. They make it into playoffs. They send Imperium home, and it is Revolution who will be making it all into playoffs. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, I am beyond excited to see what's going to happen going into the playoff selections. I believe that they will be locked in, and we will be checking all these tiebreakers later tonight, so do not hold me to any of this, but I believe they will be locked into that 6th seed. They will definitely be tied for 5th, 6th, I believe. It's complicated. There's 3 teams at 3 and 4, but Raw Extinction will get their pick of the 5 or 6 seeds going into that first round next week. I'm excited to see who it's going to be. If it's going to be our Revolution Ice Age crew, if it'll be GSG Sigma or G&E Amethyst, again, we'll check the tiebreakers. I want to say it's going to be the pick between Amethyst and Ice Age, but it's definitely going to be interesting, to say the least. Unfortunately, that will end this season for Imperium. They join G&E Ruby, as they will watch next week from the sidelines.
Yeah, and I mean, great series all around. Things looked really great in game 2 for Imperium, and I think there were, despite everything going rough, like the draft looked a lot more solid than we had seen from Imperium throughout the night. And on top of that, there was a game plan, and that game plan did have some looks that it was starting to come in form, but overall the hecticness, the aggression from Revolution ended up pulling things through. But that is going to be it for us tonight. I am Thousand Eyes, that is MXL. Thank you guys for watching a great series, and good luck to the teams that made it to playoffs.